Those, of course, were the Buzz magazine days. And as many of you know, Cathy first came to prominence as a media critic, which is a polite way of saying she made her first serious attempt at professional suicide, writing a monthly column for Buzz. Her portfolio was the manifold shortcomings of what she called, with typical precision, the world's biggest small-town newspaper, our beloved LA Times. Now, from the time I first conceived of Buzz magazine, I had wanted to include a column about the Times, but I knew it wouldn't work unless it had the right columnist. Someone who had not only the sharp eye and unforgiving ear that all good critics possess, but also the wit to make the subject interesting and amusing, even to those fortunate subscribers who lived outside Southern California, and thus were spared the indignity of ever having to come in contact with the Times. Cathy, or Margot McGee, as she was known in those days, possessed both of those attributes in spades. And I must say, reading her blog and her column for National Review Online these days, I'm still impressed by her ability to hold my interest, even when I have no idea what she's talking about, which is most of the time, especially when she's writing about politics. I'm one of the imaginary liberals who's friends with Cathy. Now, there are some critics who wield their pens like scalpels, conducting their dissections with such subtle grace that the poor subjects are hardly aware of what's been done to them. Cathy is not. When she eviscerates you, you know it. You can ask any number of Times editors, what make you think? But that's not to say she's one of those polemical terrorists whose sledgehammer rhetoric has turned public debate into such an awful combination of thuggery and professional wrestling. To the contrary, while her aim is unerring, her hand is light and good-humored. She has a low tolerance for hypocrisy, but she despises cant even more. Of course, the thing I've always loved about Cathy is that for all her devastating acuity, she can be totally clueless about the effect her writing has on people. She'll publish something absolutely punishing, some absolutely punishing critique, attacking some poor soul's ethics, professional competence, and body mass index. And then when they come howling back, demanding her head on a pike, she'll look at you with those big doe eyes and say, "Well, why are you so upset?" And she means it. Well, here's the reality check. As we both get older and more curmudgeonly, I agree with less and less what you write, but I enjoy it more and more. I don't know if that's because you're getting better or my standards are slipping. Whatever the case, I expect to continue reading you for a while yet, and much. Yeah. So, cheers.
Mickey Kaus has sent a video. Mickey Kaus is also here. Mickey Kaus believes that he's better on video than he is in person. I think we'll have to put that to the test today. Or is it just he'd rather sit in the audience and watch himself and watch you watch himself and blog it?
I don't want to do this Cathy Seipp video. I mean, what a bitch. I mean, David K. Johnson, have you seen him lately? He used to write me emails all the time. He gets entertained with Cathy, he disappears. She won't let us bring any bimbos to Yamashiro. I mean, Tracy Bingham, Barrett Swatek, those are all perfectly respectable people. I'm sure their poetry is fine. I mean, if Lindsay Lohan showed up at Yamashiro, she'd say, "Oh, is she a journalist? We don't want her here." I mean, everything has to be literary. Everything has to be professional. I mean, have you seen her blog? I mean, you know, she has that hot picture of her, but look at the prose. I mean, she's no Tiffany Stone. Jesus. And what is it with this Luke Ford thing? I mean, I know the bee stung lips, the light onion hair, the strong stream of urine. Guy doesn't have a bed, okay? Jesus, get real. I mean, and this is the point I really want to make. The real reason why I don't want to do this roast thing is because I have a confession to make. I mean, it's not been easy all these years, you know, coming up with you know, ridiculous extreme opinions before everybody else, sending secret emails, threatening litigation, getting tracked down by Cathy. But now I think I can finally admit that I am Nicky Fink. Or rather, we're all Nicky Fink. Or rather, there are a group of us who've been creating the persona of Nicky Fink over the years. Nicky Fink doesn't actually exist. That's why you never see her. And I'm not about to go through all that effort and then do some dumb roast for Cathy. So that's it. Oh, and Jabba the Hutt is suing you for libel. See ya. Does that work for you? Maybe you should cut out the strong stream of urine part.
He's right. He's better on tape. The next speaker is Ray Richmond, who is a television critic, otherwise known as the eunuch of journalists. He actually came up to me earlier and said, "Listen, I hope you don't feel bad about all the, the negative stuff I've written about your shows, all these years." And I had to pretend I'd heard of him. He writes for the Hollywood Reporter, which, just so you know, is still being published every day. Ray Richmond. Fuck you, Rob. I know it's your favorite.
New York Times, everybody.
Cathy. So, it is so great to see you here in such great spirits. But I have a little confession to make before getting started, and I think everyone else in this, what is it? It's not a room exactly. In this patio. In this pen, actually, has a little confession as well, and I'm sorry to have to be the one practicing brutal honesty here, but somebody has to. Because I know how you thrive on hiding inside this world of make-believe, but this isn't really a roast, it is an intervention. I think you know what I'm talking about. It's the delusions. Were you aware that you have things that you can take today for what you suffer from? Thorazine, Zyprexa, Haldol. These are things that are readily available at the pharmacies, even in the People's Republic of Silver. And as soon as the roast is over, I'm going to drive you there. Well, let's back up for a second, because I bring hard evidence with me. Remember back when we met at the Daily News, and I think it was 1980, right? I'm taking this out. Back in 1980, I think, you came in as this hot babe who wrote about fashion. Even though you clearly embodied the style sense of the young Helen Keller. Remember that? I think this actually tracked, if I recall correctly, with the complaints of your first roommate. She was fascinated by the fact that you would traipse around the apartment wearing nothing but your panties, with the curtains wide open. Then you'd express shock that what you were doing was any big deal. And do you recall why